putting money in people's pockets and liquidity, I don't know anything about, so I will not talk about that. I will like to put across what I think is the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat. You all know what an innovation is, be it any field. It starts with an idea and a concept, and when it is tried out in the market and there is an outcome of value, the cycle is complete. Its larger cousin is technology, which needs all these things, whether it is a product or a service or anything. Of course, the expertise with techniques, methods, processes, equipment. I will add to that, not related with any engineering or non-engineering field, artistry. And what we need is an ecosystem to encourage and nurture these solutions with pride and ownership. Because pride and ownership will make you do or makes you do 110, 120, 125% more than what you are otherwise capable of. And that's the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is really going to make us a globally competent, truly self-reliant India. Thank you. I heard about technology, I am sure, just like railways, yours is also a field which is dependent on transfer of technology over the years. So in railways, transfer of technology means you bring 20, 30, 40 new trains or locomotives or cranes or whatever moves. Then there is a series of PKDs, CKDs, assembling in India, transfer of drawings, documents, protocols, trainings, foreign jaunts, visits to learn from the superior intelligence of the person or the company which is giving you technology. But in spite of passage of years, even decades, we are not able to make it to the standard we imported. And why is that? To my mind, because technology, ladies and gentlemen, is a creation. It lives in the mind, and more than that, in the heart of the creator. There is no technology to transfer that. I have a question. How many of you do not understand Hindi, Urdu? So, a very small percentage. Even then, I'll try to translate.
No, he understands.
Do not understand.
Do not understand.
Yeah, okay. So, nevertheless, I'll try to translate. So, there's a poet you would have heard of, Firaq Gorakhpuri. Mere शेर आईना खाने में तेरी बेशुमार अदाओं के. I can go poetic about your beauty. मेरे शेर आईना खाने में तेरी बेशुमार अदाओं के, मगर ऐसी भी है कोई अदा जो रहेगी सीना-ए राज में. There is some elegance of your beauty which will remain buried in the recesses of my heart, and nobody is going to get access to that. My message, very simple, unless the gap is very large, create your own with ownership and pride. I'm not saying everywhere. Where the gap is large, of course, you have to depend on transfer, but you have to stretch yourself to do much more than you are capable of and create your own technology. And this brings me, so there are many views on that, I'll leave it at that, but it brings me to a very fundamental question, which I'll try to put to the audience here, is to do anything, just about anything, anywhere. Nothing to do with technology or engineering or any industry, just about anything. What is it that you need first and foremost? Can I have some answers, please? Will. Vision. All wonderful answers, sir. I heard some people say something similar. Absolutely, without that, you're not going anywhere. But I am going to add something to it from my experience, ladies and gentlemen, and that is you have to love what you do. Unless it's a serious bread and butter issue, quit. You have to love the people you work with, those below, those above, those your colleagues. All of you are leaders. It doesn't matter how many people work for you or you work for people. You're dealing with human beings, so you are a leader. And you have to manufacture and contrive love for everyone. It's not natural to love everyone. As a leader, you have to manufacture it. And once it becomes a habit, then you'll find the dividends are immense. And obviously, if you love what you do, you love the people you work with, you're really going to love your organization. Human resource continues to be the most important resource you have. Number one. And unless you take care of that, your organization is not going anywhere. Irrespective of all the artificial intelligence and so on, of course, I will deviate a little and tell you a story. I don't know what's in store in future. You would have heard of ChatGPT. So I was, for last one full year almost, writing a book, collating the works of Ghalib and Shakespeare. So I am not a scholar. I'm writing this book for non-scholars like me, picking up a couplet of Ghalib and trying to find an equivalent in sonnets or plays of Shakespeare and interpreting it. Sometimes a couplet would be such that I would give up and not find an equivalent in Shakespeare. It's quite possible, two different worlds, ages apart. It was labor of love, non-scholarly labor of love. I gave one work to ChatGPT on something that had taken me 3-4 days to turn out something which was not very satisfying. And Mr. ChatGPT took 3 seconds and gave me something which was far better than what I had written. So I'm not going to vouchsafe about future. I'm talking to you about present and hopefully the future. You have to begin with love. Love whatever you do. Another poet, Jigar Muradabadi, has said, "Ik lafz se mohabbat ka adna ye fasana hai." This word, love, has this brief story. "Ik lafz se mohabbat ka adna ye fasana hai, simte to dile aashik, aur phaile to zamana hai." So, mere liye it became very easy because I was working for this organization. You will remember the fight for that window seat in a train as a child or as a teenager, as the wonder, the magic, the marvel of your country passed you by. Desolate here, crowded there. Mourning, pathos, celebration, joy. Valleys, mountains, rivers, deserts. So much so that the journey becomes the objective, not the destination. You'll remember our trains have these doors which can be opened when the train is in motion. No longer with my train, and you would peep behind a door to look at this snaking train, and it is capable of giving you goosebumps even today. And even today, the richest to the poorest stand next to each other to catch the same train. To that extent, unlike an airport or a bus station, it is a great leveler. In The Tempest, Antonio says that the travelers never did lie. Fools at home condemn them. To that extent, as an Indian, if you cannot visualize the fantastical things you see from the window of a train, then I dare say you may be a prisoner of your own conflicts and confines. Since I've been afforded so much of time, and I'm assuming you people are not hungry, I will recite something which comes to my mind from a poet of my city. Before I talk about my city, I assume a lot of people are here from Hyderabad. They are? So can anyone tell me the difference between Hyderabad and Lucknow? Yeah, there is a Hyderabadi biryani and there is an Avdi biryani. The difference I learned is this much. एक हैदराबाद के साहब लखनऊ गए, तो जब उनको भूख लगी किसी दुकान में गए, उन्होंने कहा हैदराबाद के अंदाज में कि खौरमा मिलेगा? हमारे लखनऊ के भाई दुकानदार बोले खौरमा मिलेगा लेकिन इतना गाढ़ा नहीं है। तो हमारे मजाज लखनवी साहब कह गए हैं कि डालती बेहिस चट्टानों पे हकारत की नजर, कोह पे हंसती फलक को आंख दिखलाती हुई। कोह मतलब पर्वत, फलक स्काई। कोह पे हंसती फलक को आंख दिखलाती हुई, दामने तारीकी ये शब की उड़ाती धज्जियां। तारीकी डार्कनेस, दामन आप जानते हैं, शब इवनिंग। दामने तारीकी ये शब की उड़ाती धज्जियां, कसर जुल्मत पर मुसलसल तीर बरसाती हुई। अलगरज चली जाती है बे खौफ व खतर, शायर आतिश नफस का खून खौलाती हुई। This is a poetry called Raat or Rail. This is the organization I worked for, ladies and gentlemen. There was no option for me but to love it with all my heart. Warts and all, loved every moment of it. And it's true for any organization. I will give you the instance of Indra Nooyi, the most successful woman entrepreneur of India. And what made her successful? Selling Pepsi Cola. She must have loved it with all her heart to reach where she did. As I say, you have to manufacture it as a leader. But I'm not here to talk to you about this legacy, this romance of Indian Railways. I'm here to talk about this. What you see on the left, on the top of your screen, is the instant recall of an Indian Railways train, which has not changed much since independence. I'm not even talking about what happened before independence. Color was red, it has become blue. Some technology has been added. AC coaches have come. But close your eyes, open it. Close your eyes, think of a Bharati Rail ki gaadi aur ye aapko dikhai dega. As a child, in late 60s, early 70s, when I looked at magazines, rail magazines, because I come from a railway family, I would look at those trains from Europe and Japan and wonder, with such a large railway system, with such a large pool of engineers, why can't we have a modern, aesthetically superior, speedier train with higher technology? एक जैसे लग रहे हैं सभी चेहरे मुझे, होश की ये इंतहा है या मैं नशे में हूं. I was finding this angst I had this dream that someday we'll have this train. Struggled with this after joining railways for all my life, and that was the seed of the story I'm trying to tell you here. But the message here is very simple. Look beyond love, because only thing that is permanent in an organization is change. In 2016, August, as you know, in government, घोड़े और गधे सब एक ही लाइन में चलते हैं. तो अगस्त 2016 में जब 2 साल 5 महीने बचे थे मेरी सर्विस के, तो ये गधा जनरल मैनेजर बनने की कगार पे था. और आपने सुना होगा ये railways have these zones. There used to be 9 zones. Now there are 16. For example, Hyderabad mein South Central Railway zonal headquarter is Sikandrabad. So these are railways being a feudal organization. These are fiefdoms. And everyone wants to become a general manager of a zone before retirement to enjoy the fruits of office, legal, illegal. And there are some factories also which are headed by a general manager. They are the last choices. I went to the chairman, who was known to me. I requested for posting in Integral Coach Factory, Chennai. And it was an easy choice for him. I was afforded that, and I landed in Integral Coach Factory, set up in 1950s as a vision, or as a rather a dream of Jawaharlal Nehru to make railway coaches of latest technology. Since then, it has gone through many expansions. Numbers have gone up, so much so that you see at the bottom, it holds the world record of making the highest number of coaches from one factory. But all more of the same, not much change. In 1950s, you see this gentleman, Mala ke saath jo hai, he is Chow and Lai. In 1955, he came to ICF and wrote in the visitor's book that this is a factory all Orient should be proud of. And I would like Chinese engineers to come and learn how to make coaches. And where have we reached in these 65, 70 years? We make a beeline to go to China to learn from them. Not only railway technology, in practically most of the technologies, most of the domains. And that's why a dream is fine, but unless it is supported by a vision and then an action plan, that dream amounts to nothing. And that vision and that action plan was never put forward by railwaymen like me. And that's why the message is dream without a vision or a vision without action is meaningless. I was invited within days of my joining to speak as a government CEO by IIM Kolkata. I didn't know what many of you must be CEOs, but I didn't know what a CEO was. So I did my Googling, made this table, and thanks to empowerment given by this government, especially Mr. Prabhu, who was the railway minister, the general manager of an Indian Railways is empowered more than the CEO of a large private company. So there are two ways to look at it. And my uncles have come to assist you in whichever way you want to look, because these poets have a speciality. They can speak pro and con poetically. So Shakespeare साहब कहते हैं in Romeo and Juliet, what's in a name? A rose would smell as sweet or rotten. So भाई हम सरकारी आदमी हैं, ये सब पावर ओवर देने से क्या होता है? रहेंगे तो सरकारी. हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत, लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को ख्याल अच्छा है. Or the other way to look at it is, it's a huge canvas given to you with another large palette of colors, variegated colors, to paint it in hues and shades of your liking. That was the thought that, before I went to speak there, was what dominated my mind for some time. And remember, the railway factories are not even public. They're government. So here I come, and the first thing I did, which would apply to anywhere, and I speak with conviction, is to break all the protocols, all the shackles of propriety, all these artificial boundaries which are created between those who are governed and those who govern. That's a very, very colonial concept that we have in government, and I dare say even in private and public sector. The first thing that you see on the left of my screen was the place where the janitor used to keep the brooms and buckets, which you will find in many government offices. Things are changing. So I threw them out, built a family tree. Everyone's snap mugshot was available because of IDs and so on. And this tree was created. The little holes that you see is everyone's face. Nobody bigger or smaller. 12,000 of them. And it became a project to find your own face. It became a selfie point with family. I also had to look for my face with the help of my attender. But the belongingness it inculcated in each and every member of Integral Coach Factory was something to be seen, to be believed in. A 10,000 crore enterprise, I had said 0.25%, 0.5% is mine. Apart from large sanction project that I'll get, this money is something I'll use only for improvement of work area, colonies, community centers, and so on. We are going to spend a lot of money. So the second in command said, Ki bhai, you have great ideas, please go ahead and do that, but please don't interfere with production. So मेरे पास बहुत time हो गया. So I used to just aimlessly move to the factory. A civil engineer, electrical engineer, that's it, nobody else from the factory would follow at some distance. And I would just go and meet these people, as you see. Just ask them one question, which was, I was told 1,000 times not to ask them. He says that's a suicidal question to ask workers on the shop floor. These workers have never seen a GM. They don't know his name. GM's post is ceremonial. Your presence in the factory is ceremonial. But my question was, two-liner, which I had learned in Tamil also, any problem? I was told you will be flooded with answers, but 99.5% of the time, the answer was, no problem, sir. If there was any problem related to some lighting or toilet, those engineers following me were told to attend it then and there. But the bridge that it helped me build, ये काम कर रहे हैं, कुछ वेल्डर है, किसी को कालिख लगी है, आप जाके उनके हाथ मिला लीजिए, गले लग जाइए. उससे याद आया मुझे, आप लोग को याद होगा एक बार माननीय राहुल गांधी जी पार्लियामेंट में मोदी जी के गले लग गए थे. याद है आप लोग? तो मोदी जी ने क्या कहा था? मोदी जी ने कहा था, आज पता चला कि गले लगने और गले पड़ने में क्या फर्क होता है. तो मैं जाके गले पड़ जाता था. एक और चीज है, पॉलिटिशियंस के लिए बहुत ठीक है कि कुछ भी इनॉग्रेट हो सरकारी पैसे पे वहां अपना नाम लगा दीजिए. लेकिन ये ब्यूरोक्रेट्स ने भी सीख लिया है. एक ही प्लाक पे 8-10 नाम मिल जाएंगे. अगर हिंदी में कहें तो उसका बहुत सारे नए वर्ड, निर्माण. फिर 2-3 साल बाद एक साहब आए, उन्होंने उसका उन्नयन कर दिया. फिर 3-4 साल बाद आए कोई साहब, उन्होंने उसका पुनर्उन्नयन कर दिया और हर जगह 8 नाम लगा दिए. जब when I was a junior officer, एक बार वो एक कंप्यूटर, 1984 की बात है, तब कंप्यूटर हम लोगों ने देखा ही नहीं था. एक पीसी आया हमारे शेड में, तो उसके लिए एक अलग कमरा बना, उसमें एयर कंडीशनर लगा. उसका इनॉग्रेशन करने के लिए जीएम साहब आ रहे थे, उनसे कहा गया कि आप आइएगा. वो आए, वो वेरी नाइस जेंटलमैन. फिर वो एक बड़ी मुश्किल से शेड वालों ने एक रिमोट तैयार किया था, वो दैट ब्लॉक के ऊपर जो कर्टन था वो हट जाएगा. और जैसे जैसे हटने लगा, उन्होंने अपना नाम वहां देखा, वो आग बबूला हो गए. उन्होंने कहा कि if through what I do, through my deeds, through my daily action, if I am unable to live in the hearts of the people I administer, am I going to live in this stone? A dog will come and do its trick someday. फिर उन्होंने नहीं किया वो इनॉग्रेट. गुस्सा हुए, फिर शांत हो गए. But he gave me a lesson. And that lesson was, as I joined, I had done it earlier on a smaller scale. I called the engineer and I asked him कि भाई 60-65 साल हो गए फैक्ट्री बने. Please go and count, put all your staff, the number of plaques which have the name of any bureaucrat, chairman railway board, member railway board, general manager, secretary this, secretary that, whoever. Politicians ko chhod do, their job is to glorify themselves. And tell me by tomorrow morning how many such boards are there, but don't forget to count each one, big or small. Next day morning, the gentleman comes and tells me there are 170 odd such boards, plaques. I said, okay, you have time till evening today. Put all your manpower, extract these and throw them in the dust so that everyone can see where they belong. And from now on, except large facilities where luminaries would be called. If it's a cultural thing, a Bharatnatyam dancer. If it is a sports facility, some sportsmen, Chennai has a lot of them. Otherwise, it will be inaugurated by the senior most staff of that area, and only his name would be put on that plaque. And he is the one who will come with his sons, daughters, spouse, parents, stand next to each, mind you, with tearful eyes, and take a memory that will live with him for all his life. He is the one who's going to value it, because he is the one who has given blood, sweat and tears to that area. We did 500 plus such inaugurations because we were spending a lot of money. And 500 people won over. And if one had influence over 10, half the factory won over by this simple act. The message, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. Whatever we do, whichever area, empathy, openness, shunning all protocols will take you, and demolishing all barriers would really take you very far. So the general manager had an annual fund of 25-30 lakhs to be spent on networking. So my secretary would always say, "Ki sahab, agli party kaun si karni hai?" So, invite the bigwigs of the city, network with them. I said, fine. I also like my drink. I can have it in the company of my choice, but what is the factory going to get out of it? So he had no answer. I said, go and read your provisions. Does it say anywhere that I cannot spend these 25-30 lakhs on my people? So he looked around, he said, "Sahab, aisa kuch likha to nahi hai." I said, okay. So I said, helper upwards, helper, technicians, supervisors, officers, periodically, every month, I'll have a party with them on government expense. And I would say that small amount, 25-30 lakhs per year, was spent perhaps in the best possible manner as far as building this camaraderie in the factory was concerned. Empathy sans any protocol. There is a square root rule कि अगर आपके यहाँ 100 आदमी काम करते हैं, तो square root of that, 10 are the ones who carry the organization on their shoulders. They do 50% of the work. I'll not go that far. I would think 25% or so are the ones who are so self-motivated that all they need is a pat on their back, nothing else. In government, in any case, you can't really reward people. As I said, घोड़े गधे एक ही लाइन में चलते हैं. But they are self-motivated. 2% ऐसे हैं कि आप कुछ भी कर लीजिए, they won't work. Every organization has that. Incorrigible people. बाकी 65-70% they are watching if there is any premium on working, or is there any punishment for not working. Those 2% are the ones you have to take care of. 25% खुद काम कर रहे हैं, 70% से आप 4 घंटे से ज्यादा सरकार में काम नहीं करा सकते, कोई भी हो आप। वो 4 घंटे काम कराने के लिए भी वो 2% को पकड़ना जरूरी है। पहली फैक्ट्री थी जहां पे बायोमेट्रिक अटेंडेंस शुरू हुई, अनहर्ड ऑफ। दैट टाइम पीपल आस्क मी कि ये आप क्यों, किसने कहा आपको करने को? रेलवे कारखाने में बायोमेट्रिक होता ही नहीं है। हमने कहा ठीक है, तुम 4 से 5 घंटे काम करते हो, वही करो। उससे पहले और बहुत कुछ ट्राई किया हम लोगों ने। वो बच्चों, वर्कर्स के बच्चों को प्ले कार्ड लेके ले आए कि आप पापा हमको कहते हो स्कूल टाइम से जाओ, आप क्यों नहीं टाइम पे कम काम पे आते हो? वो सबसे खास कुछ काम नहीं हुआ। दैट टाइम आई सेड कि भाई सुना है मैंने 200 आदमी ऐसे हैं जो इनका कार्ड कोई और पंच करता है, वो तो आते ही नहीं कारखाने में। अब बाकी 11,000 हैं या 10,000 हैं जो 5 घंटे काम करते हैं। तो वो 5 घंटे काम करने वाले माफ, ये जो 200 हैं इनको देखना है मुझे। कबीर साहब कह गए हैं, बकरी पाती खात है ताकि खींची खाल। बकरी बेचारी पत्ती खाती है, उसकी तो हम खाल खींच लेते हैं। बकरी पाती खात है ताकि खींची खाल, तो जेनर बकरी खात है तिनका कौन हवा। मतलब ये जो 200 है इनको देखूंगा यार, तुम 5 घंटे वाले करते रहो, 40 साल से 5 घंटे काम करते हो। आई कैन नॉट चेंज दैट। डेडवुड, चरकस, पैरासाइट्स, प्रॉक्सी, सीरियल ऑफेंडर्स, sexual harassment, and I'll come to the sexual harassment part later. Government of India, unlike private sector, I believe I have so many industrialist friends, it's very difficult to chuck out something. Government of India gives you that power to throw out people. You don't use it. I said, from now on, I'm passing this illegal order, because I'm not the Chief Justice of India, I'm only an administrator. That once you, one of these people, you decide to charge, once you decide that they are at some wrong, don't punish him. If you punish him, what will you do? Stop his promotion, stop his increment, railway में pass PTO बंद कर दोगे, वो रहेगा तो आप ही के पास। A disgruntled worker, a punished worker will never give you an output. या तो रिफॉर्म कर दो, कोई पनिशमेंट मत दो, पीठ पे हाथ दे के रिफॉर्म कर दो, और अगर रिफॉर्म नहीं होता है जूता मार के बाहर निकाल दो, किक हिम आउट। सरकार ने पावर दिया है, तो यू हैव 2 ऑप्शंस। द पावर नॉट टू सैक ऑन अ चार्ज शीट इज विड्रॉन। द ओनली पावर, माय डियर ऑफिसर्स, इज टू सैक देम। यू हैव ओनली दिस चॉइस, कंपल्सरी रिटायरमेंट, रिमूवल और डिसमिसल। तीनों में थोड़ा थोड़ा फर्क है। 165 आदमियों को 2.5 साल में हम लोगों ने बाहर कर दिया। तब बात उठती थी कि कोई स्टाफ कर रहा है, किसी की फैमिली अल्कोहलिज्म है, ये है वो। मैंने कहा ठीक है, मर्सी इज फाइन, बट मर्सी मस्ट कम आफ्टर यू हैव शोन योर पॉइजन। क्षमा शोभती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो। भुजंग मतलब स्नेक, गरल मीन्स पॉइजन। क्षमा शोभती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो, उसका क्या जो दंतहीन विश्रहित विनीत सरल हो। Will you ever respect a poisonous snake? The only snake which will deserve, which will get respect from you is a poisonous one. Show your poison first. We were able to throw out these people, and later, if it was a serious case of mystery, I made it one window of all the 170 officers to examine a case, a trustworthy gentleman, and show some mercy. So some of them were taken back as well. And that's why I say my uncle has said, nothing emboldens sin so much as, I will add, misplaced mercy. एक फैशन सरकार में है, आपके यहाँ भी होगा शायद, is to let ideas be thrown up by people. But here it is ordered, mandated, commanded, cajoled, dismissed, ridiculed, patronized. Because we are copying it from somebody either in Japan or Europe or Kaizen le rahe hain, quality circle. The spirit should be only to give platform. Every man has ideas. It's just that the barriers prevent him from speaking it out. Whatever little I have been able to do in my life, I have no hesitation in saying most of it has come through ideas from below, not from top. It's just you have to give your ear to people. Amazing ideas would come from people who have worked in that field for so long. We gave that platform and we were able to do so many things. And then their heart would be in, also make it a single window of implementation. If it's your idea, go ahead and implement it. You will get the pride, you will have the privilege of having done it. अगर शरर है तो भड़के, जो फूल है तो खिले, तरह तरह की तलब तेरे रंग लब से है. I want to see so many hues from your lips, and that's your human beings, your employees who are always budging and burgeoning with ideas. All you need to do is to support that. It's very true about government. I don't know about your industry. The working is predicated on non-trustworthy Indians by our colonial masters. And 70 years of freedom has not been able to change that. Everything, I dare say, I'm sorry about it, but most of the things you are required to do is in an ecosystem of mistrust. And the mistrust arises from the colonial thinking that these Indians, if given a free hand, will make dirty money. It was our money in any case. This was taught to us, and we continue with this. So has all the mistrust-based system in government, has it prevented people from making money? Isn't it becoming worse? So give something else a chance. And that is, remove all these watchdogs of all types. I'll not name anybody, but the very systems of mistrust into trust. I'll give you a small example. You would have heard of public procurement and how, all kinds of suppliers can supply L1 syndrome and so on. But I told the two key people, the chief design engineer mechanical and the chief design engineer electrical, competent fellows, I just told them, I have complete trust in you. So my power is your power. You will decide what to buy from whom. It could be a single bid, it could be a multiple bid, limited multi-bid, it can be open. Your word is final. You own it up and you have my support, my blind signature. And it worked. On a larger frame all over the government or wherever, this should be tried. Even if some people misuse it and make money, are they not already doing it? Mistrust has not taken us far. Give trust a chance. तेरे वादे पर जिए हम तो ये जाना झूठ जाना कि खुशी से मर न जाते जो एतबार होता. एतबार करके देखिए, खुशी से मरने का टाइम आ सकता है. आपने इतना टाइम दे दिया मुझे कि आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू स्किप एनी स्लाइड. You have given me so much time that these are the slides I usually skip. 15 minutes I'll leave, I know. So one of the senior officers in my room once, I can drink tea like hot water. As long as it's hot, it's okay. So I'm not a connoisseur of tea or coffee. I like filter coffee quite a lot, with a caveat. मेरे रूम में जो आके बैठे चाय ले आओ, चाय आ जाए. एक सीनियर ऑफिसर ने कहा कि नहीं मुझे नहीं चाहिए. मैंने कहा क्या हो गया? बोला साहब पूरे इंटीग्रल कोच फैक्ट्री में सबसे रद्दी चाय आपके कमरे में मिलती है. तो मैंने चाय बनाने वाले को बुलाया. मैंने कहा भाई अब वो कुछ बोले ना, तो मैंने कहा अच्छा एक पोस्टर बनाओ, उस पर लिखो आई मेक द वर्स्ट टी इन ICF, और जिन जिन अफसरों ने चाय पीने से मना किया उनके कमरे में जाओ. So reluctantly he did that drama. Other attenders and everyone was laughing, smiling. I was also enjoying myself. फिर मैंने बुलाया, मैंने पूछा चक्कर क्या है. उसने कहा कि साहब I know how to make coffee, but I am being told since you came to make tea, so what can I do? I said, okay, it doesn't matter to me. From now on, I'll only drink coffee. तो वो कॉफी बनाने लगा. वही साहब एक दिन आए, मैंने कहा कॉफी ले आओ, तो उन्होंने कहा साहब मुझे 2 चाहिए. मैंने कहा अच्छा क्या हो गया? बोला साहब पूरे इंटीग्रल कोच फैक्ट्री की सबसे अच्छी कॉफी आपके रूम में मिलती है. तो मैंने इसको बुलाया भाई साहब को, मैंने कहा भाई एक अपना पोस्टर बनाओ. आई यूज्ड टू मेक द वर्स्ट टी इन ICF, I now make the best coffee in ICF. I'm just giving you a simple example of how misplaced tackling of human being can give you very, very poor output. Every organization, there is so much of nonsense. दिन रात तुम्हारी महफिल में दिन रात की बातें होती हैं, कुछ बात नहीं होती बेबात, लेकिन बेबात की बातें होती हैं. जिस बात की बातें होती हैं उस बात में कोई बात नहीं, जिस बात में कोई बात नहीं उस बात की बातें होती हैं. जिस बात में इतनी बात बढ़ी उस बात में कोई बात न थी. जब बात पे बात आ जाती है तब बात की बातें होती हैं. This is true for any organization. You have to live with lot of nonsense. You can't curtail it, you can't remove it, you can curtail it. तो जब ट्रेन बन रही थी तो मैंने कहा था कि भाई ये रेलवे में, रेलवे क्या सरकार में जब फाइल आ गई कुछ दिन लेके बैठे रहे, समझ में नहीं आया किधर जाएं, तो कुछ लिख के आगे बढ़ा दिया. तो ये बढ़ते 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 फिर आपके पास आती है, फिर आप उल्टा उसको चला दीजिए. तो जैसे जलेबी बनती है उस तरह बनती रहेगी, काम नहीं होगा. मैंने कहा अब ऐसी चीज किसी के बारे में पता चलेगा, 1 या 2 दिन से ज्यादा कोई फाइल किसी के टेबल पे रहेगी, और जल्दी निकले भी उसमें अगर जलेबी बनाई गई है तो उसका इलाज मेरे पास है. उसी 25-30 लाख में 2 बड़ी बड़ी प्लेट जलेबी के खरीद के टेबल पे रखी और जलेबी बनाने वालों को बुलाया और बैठाया सामने. मैंने कहा भाई you people have really made great jalebi on the file. You have deserved to eat these jalebis at government expense. Diabetes or not, you have to finish it in front of me, or then we used to enjoy, because eating that many jalebis is also not easy. But I said, you have either take some harsh action or you eat all these jalebis. It worked because jalebis in the room of general manager became such an odd, fearful event that actually I'll tell you, files did start moving, because sarkari work is based on what is called a file, which is good for paper, I think. So you cannot really stop it, but you can try to control it. With all these measures, one of the speakers was talking about manpower. कोई भी काम आता है तो our first instance is we need manpower. I'll take some water only. Should I try that? Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Try this. वो जो 10 स्क्वायर रूट वाले 10% तो नहीं, 25% आदमी के भरोसे उनको 2 बार और छाती उनका पीठ ठोकी है. It is very much true that too many cooks spoil the broth. मैंने कहा 12,000 आदमी हैं. By the time I retire, I will make it 10,000. मैं एक भी नया आदमी नहीं लूंगा. ओवरस्टाफ्ड है, गवर्नमेंट पूरी ओवरस्टाफ्ड ही होती है. यूनियन वुड से कि साहब लोगों का काम बढ़ गया. मैंने कहा नहीं, 5 घंटे काम करते हैं ना, 5 ही घंटे काम करेंगे. 5 घंटा 1 मिनट होते ही काम मत करो. कौन कह रहा है तुम सरकार में इसलिए थोड़ी आए हो कि 8 घंटे काम करोगे. आदमी नहीं लूंगा, जो हैं आज की डेट में 12,000, फिर 11,500, 11,000, उनका कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो, एनीथिंग, पर्सनल, ऑफिशियल, जिस भी टाइम मेरे पास आओगे, आई विल गो विथ यू टू सॉल्व दैट प्रॉब्लम। पर जो अभी आया ही नहीं है, उसकी बात मुझसे मत करो। कुछ आउटसोर्सिंग मेजर्स, कुछ नो मिरेकल, बट व्हाट यू सी actually happened. The production climbed from 1,500, 1,600 to 4,000. And the number of men which took to make a coach reduced from hovering around 8 to 9, it actually came down to as much as 2.5. As far as possible, any new job, if you can do with those 25% committed workforce of yours, I'm not saying it's always possible, but that should be first given a try. Since the subject was green today, I will spend a minute on this slide. So it's ICF was there are 3,200 houses in 5 colonies, built in 50s, dilapidated. We were trying to improve it and so on. Does the pointer work? Anyway, on the left, on your right top, you see what is a bin. South में तो कम है, north में बहुत है. These are the bins where people come and throw their garbage. It overflows, and then you have animals near it and so on. It's a common sight in spite of all the Swachh Bharat and all that. मैंने कहा पहले काम करो, इसको बंद कर दो, इसमें plants लगा दो. Spending only 5-10% more, we will do these household collection for wet and dry waste. Those composting plants were made in the premises itself. Chennai is a city which supports recycling of solid waste. We will not send anything to landfill. What we were sending was around 55% or so, was reduced to only about 6-7%. And the colony became totally free of garbage, to the extent every Sunday I used to take a round, and wherever I saw some garbage on the street, I would call all the ladies, particularly of nearby houses, and ask them, why do you let somebody come and throw garbage in front of your house? Of course, one of them had done it, but the peer pressure became such that in spite of this old and, as I said, to some extent dilapidated colony, it actually became the cleanest colony in the city of Chennai, barring perhaps the IIT Madras colony. And there was a reservoir. Once the engineer took me to a reservoir through shrubbery, wild growth. And as I neared it, it was stinking to the 7th heaven. Then suddenly emerged this great water body. I said, "Ye kya hai?" He said, "It's a water reservoir." I said, "My foot, it is a water reservoir. It's a beautiful lake. What have you done to it?" He said, "Pelicans used to descend in this water body 40 years back. Now sewerage comes from all these unauthorized colonies and the lake is dying." I said, "Okay, the first thing you will do is close all this sewerage today." वो कर दिया उसने 2-3 दिन बाद. All that started overflowing in the colonies. The MP was AIDMK and MLA was DMK. Both of them came together. He said, "You can't do that." I said, "As government, I don't have CSR, but I have power over so many companies. I will use their CSR to help you. But no sewerage is going to come into my lake. Through government and community effort, we will revive this lake." We did. In about 9 months' time, the water from turgid green started becoming blue. We made a picnic spot next to it, put boats there, a large process. In 2019, that was after I retired, the city of Chennai faced anybody from Chennai? The city faced a huge water crisis, sir. And that time, most of the water bodies had dried. So I was very proud to read from my retired home that the ICF lake was one of the few water bodies which still retained water. My message here is very simple. Wherever you work, and so many people talked about it today, your mother is earth and your sister is water. As I said, I'll speak about that sexual harassment thing a little bit. So we have these unfortunate incidents of gender-based misdemeanor or even seriously sexual harassment of lady employees. And Government of India, in its wisdom, has made a regime of tackling that called Vishakha, which has lady officers and so on. It has series of the victim deposing, inquiry, and so on, a long process. So as I said, I am not the Chief Justice of India. I am an administrator. I don't believe in this Vishakha Shishaka. If I learn of a case through word of mouth, I don't need any evidence from the lady. I don't need her to write anything. I will not subject her to any inquiry. I will merely take 4 hours through a trusted man to find out if the complaint is genuine. Because sometimes there may be a misleading complaint as well. Having determined that the complaint is genuine, the Government of India has empowered me to sack someone if I can record on file the reason of not conducting an inquiry. And all of you, all my officers, are going to record in such cases without any shred of paper evidence, oral, word of mouth, but true. Record that I don't want that lady employee to relive that horror. And therefore, no inquiry is possible. And I'm showing this sexual offender the door today. And 4 such people were thrown out. That gave a message to these women, and some of them came to me and said we were engaged as technicians, fitters, welders, but these men use us as helpers. I said, okay, so begin with, we made many, it was not segregation, it was empowerment. Many gangs or groups of ladies working on computers, lady working on cables, cable assembly, berth making, plumbing work, and other softer job if I can see. When these group of ladies came to me and they said, we want to do heavy fabrication job for which we have been employed. What you see, ladies and gentlemen, are 29 Chennai women aged 23 to 57, supervised by a lady supervisor with a lady officer, making an entire coach with all the heavy equipment, welding and fitting and everything, making an entire coach on their own. Their output, if not better, was certainly equal to men, and the pride they had in this work can be seen in this picture where they stand before you as something like Air Force pilots. We did something about more of the same. I'll not spend more time on it. I'm conscious of about 15 minutes that I have. And what you see on the right bottom is what we exported to Sri Lanka through great effort. We had done it twice earlier, and we were the whipping boys. Our coaches would be put next to the Chinese, and we were told that we were aesthetically inferior and technologically inferior. I visited Sri Lanka in February of 22, met some of them after retirement, and what you see, which was sent to them in 2018, gave me immense satisfaction. Using the same people, same design people, same suppliers, we were able to supply something which they said is definitely superior technologically and aesthetically to the Chinese diesel electrical multi-units they were using. And I was so happy with that. So now these 15 minutes are for the story which for which Mr. Goel invited me. So what's a train set? So you know the coaches are loose with locomotives, attached, detached. The modern trend over 25, 30, 35 years is to have permanently coupled coaches. All the equipment for powering, air conditioning, hotel load, lighting, everything is under the board. Entire area of the board is for passenger amenities except two cabs in the end. And you can walk from one cab to the other, 16 coaches or whichever number of coaches there be. Through sealed gangways, you will not even feel that you are crossing one coach from another, unlike the rickety vestibule that we have in our coaches today. It has all these advantages with so much of equipment, faster acceleration, deceleration. The number of coaches reduced. There is no power car, that noisy power car that you have in Shatabdi and Rajdhani. Everything is under the board. So less number of coaches, more energy efficient. In spite of all these improvements, why is it that India did not have this? The reason is not very complimentary to Indian Railways. One is, if you make a train like this, it's neither a coach nor a locomotive. We have departments. Now, which department is going to be the Maibap of this train? So there is fighting. And let the interest of the country go to hell. And this fighting was going on for 25, 30 years. And there was another lobby which wanted to import them for obvious advantages which you see on the screen. That, I'll take a deviation here. What I have written are these cliches. 3 of them by my uncle. But after retirement, specifically after retirement, you realize 2 things. And it will apply to most of you. You have more wealth than you are going to make use of. And if you have ill-gotten wealth, that suspicion will derail you. There was something which happened after retirement. We'll not go into that. But during that phase, I found that this legacy of honesty had made me so fearful that I was not afraid at all at any point. Whereas, if I was not, suspicion would always haunt the guilty mind of mine if had I done it. You all, most of you are definitely younger to me. Remember this. These are not cliches. These are things which I have practically found proven in my life. Nevertheless, the clannish goals saw to it the trains never came. And these larger things, the train that the country was waiting for ages was not to be seen. And that's precisely 5, 7, 8 minutes more of my story is we always have large concerns. Couple of gentlemen were talking to me today, and yes, there's so many things which don't work. अब बाहर निकलिए, कहीं सड़क खराब है, कहीं सीवरेज नहीं है, कहीं ट्रैफिक खराब है. There's a large circle of concern. But we have that small dot of influence where we can do something. In that concern of concerns, we forget that small dot, sir. There's a Chinese saying which says that, what's the use of cursing darkness? Try to light your own candle. शिकवाए जुल्मत शब से कहीं बेहतर था. शिकवा complaint, जुल्मत darkness, शब evening. शिकवा जुल्मत शब से कहीं बेहतर था. ये अपने हिस्से की एक क्षमा जलाते जाते. The time had come for me to light my torch and go to this dream. So we are told, live your dream. Especially to younger people, we say, go and live your dream. I qualify it by saying, don't live your dream, but don't let it be extinguished. Let it linger somewhere. Let it not die. That opportunity to realize your dream will come your way someday. And that's the time, in the people's president word, that's the time that that dream should not let you sleep. And that time for me had come. How? Because I had the dream, the vision, The fortune. The fortune because very capable staff, design engineering staff, engineers were there in ICF, not my doing, bequeathed to me. Ennui, boredom written on their face of doing more of the same. With chutzpah, technical audacity to try something new, all I needed to do was to channelize that energy towards a product I thought were capable of doing. I had the opportunity to be heading one of the biggest factories in the world, but there were doubts. The first doubt, I was told, you may be a powerful GM, you can spend any money you want, but to make a new train for 180 kilometers per hour, new type, you need a sanction from the board. I said, okay, what's the problem? I'll get the sanction. But I was a foolhardy person. There was derision from members of the board. They thought I was spinning a yarn, seeking publicity. बनाएंगे भी नहीं और import भी बंद हो जाएगा. All kinds of negativity. And that's when I thought there's no other way. Proposal in December 16, and we are in April, early April, late March. No sanction. So I thought I'll go to the chairman. The same gentleman who had posted me, God bless his soul, he's no more, Mr. Mittal. And I said, I will exercise something which I'll tell you. First I tried to tell him that if you think we can do it, he said, yes. Then why not letting us do it? Because other board members are not permitting me. I said, you are the chairman. Then I said, I lied to him. I said, in July 18, you are retiring. We have whatever, 14, 15 months. We will try to build it before you retire. You will come and cut the ribbon. That wavered him a little. Then I said, you import whatever you want. Who am I to stop you? But give me sanction for just 2 trains. I'll build it at 1/3 the price of your import. That wavered him a little bit more. And then I came to what is the difference, ladies and gentlemen, between pride and vanity. Pride is a great emotion. It enhances so much so that you look at everyone with happiness. Vanity diminishes. You look at people, you look down upon people. You think so much of yourself. I said, I'm going to grab your feet and I'm not going to leave them till you give me the sanction because you can do it in no time. And what was I doing? I was enhancing my pride by catching his feet because if I got the sanction, I would have the pride of going back to my people saying, here is the sanction. And what was I killing? My vanity. Somebody else will kill it in any case someday. It's better you kill it yourself today. I got the sanction. I go back to people, and this is how I got the sanction, mind you. I go back to people and say, here we are. They were excited, but they said there is one more doubt. Ab 200 crore to aap lagaoge banane mein, 100 crores each. इतना सरकारी पैसा लगेगा पहली बार कोई ab initio काम हो रहा है. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then who's the scapegoat? I said, I am retiring in December 18. We have 21 months. If the train doesn't work, I would have retired by that time. Which better scapegoat can you find? What will they do to a retired person? They tried, of course. I was wrong at that time. But if you are able to deliver this train, you will bask in that glory for the rest of your life, gentlemen of my core team, and that excited them. I didn't repeat it to them, but it's basically the summary of this, that our doubts are traitors, which make us lose the good we might often win by fearing to attempt. गिरते हैं शह सवार ही मैदान जंग में, वो तिफल क्या गिरे जो घुटनों के बल चले. The days of your crawling on your feet are over. You will be a mounted soldier with me. And if we succeed, we would have given to the country something that it has been waiting for decades. And if we fail, doesn't matter. Failures are nothing but stepping stones to success. Which reminds me, When Mr. Goel introduces me, he talks about all the successes I've had. He would never speak about my failures. None of us speak about failures. Everyone has had so many failures, perhaps much more than successes. We should discuss failures more because failures have more lessons than successes. Nevertheless, that set them on. Work was about to start. How would we make it? As I said, transfer of technology in an oxymoron, good or bad, it will be entirely our creation. It won't be world class, but we'll try to do our best, but it will be our baby. That excited them even more because they had the capability. As I said, channelization was all that was required. But we did make a table of about 150 things, which I've summarized here, which go into making a train. And there were 3 or 4 areas which we thought we may not be there. Industry had come up much more than railways, the support industry. We were heavily dependent on that, private industry. But even there, some gaps were there. How do we bridge that gap? By accepting that we don't know. Because my uncle has said, a fool doth think that he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. It's better to be a witty fool than a foolish wit. Accept and then look for consultants. Don't go to a company which will have future stake in deliveries. Go to design consultancies which charge very little and their only job is to give you a good product of design with a caveat that every line you draw, every word that you write will be with our people so that next time round when they are going to make 200 kilometers per hour train, they will do it on their own. And that succeeded. We had a great, in 3 areas we gave consultancies, all within about, total was about 15 crores or so. Nothing great and no future supply is required from them. Only stake they had to give us a good design. And then as I said that all doubts are over, then there was a last doubt which was partially already spoken about my friend Mr. Goel here. उन्होंने कहा कि भाई project of this magnitude from start to finish, idea, concept, design, engineer, manufacture, validate, test, कोई अच्छी कंपनी के पास जाओगे तो 36 to 42 months. आप रिटायर हो जाओगे दिसंबर 18 में. न्यू लीडर में से कि बेबी डिजाइन ही हुई है, काम शुरू नहीं हुआ, इसको abandon कर दो. Why are you purchasing trouble? Where would we be? I said, yes, you have a genuine problem. So, we will solve it by recalling that we are Indians. We can burn our midnight oil. We will work like donkeys. And we will do what has never been done earlier, anywhere in the world, is we will deliver this train in calendar year 2018 itself before I retire. And to remind everyone that the train is going out in 2018, we will give it a name. And that's why in April 17, we called it Train 18. After that, it was just a story of hard work. What you see are meetings on shop floor. No meetings in air-conditioned rooms. Meetings with even all polished suppliers on the shop floor in Chennai heat where the trains were being built. Hitches, glitches, disappointments, but synergy and solutions. That was the story of next 18 months. It was finally unveiled in October 2018 to a great euphoric celebration because we allowed all families. Whole day pictures were clicked. And why? Because all of them, a factory which had made 60,000 coaches. Why so much love for this? Because they thought this was the first time it was a baby of our own. After that, it went through the tests successfully, was launched by the Prime Minister himself as Vande Bharat Express between Varanasi and Delhi. Since then, it has run for more than 4 years. There was a lull for 3 years, another 8 have been made. We had built 2, 10 are already in service, and there has been no failure. It's the father of Six Sigma, if you ask me, except one. Trouble, no cancellation, no failures, total reliability. And there are 2 things with which I would like to close it. And that is, it was a train, not Chandrayaan or Mangalyaan or a rocket or a missile. Why did it get so much love, so much hype, so much? Why have you called me to listen about it? I find answers, and the only answer I can think is it, as the Prime Minister also says, it in a way represented the aspirational and the resurgent spirit of India, and we looked at it, the product as something that India was capable of to show to the world that it was possible. As for me, as my uncle has said, the things one are done, choice so lies in the doing. But people like Mr. Goyal give me this chance to relive that joy again and again. And it was a great matter of happiness for me to talk to you. I'll close by this simple message. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,000, 1,000,000 such projects are possible in this country. All it needs is leadership with passion, commitment, empathy, and a sense of purpose. Thank you very much.
The floor is open for any question answer if you have. Please, one question, one person, avoid counters.
Yes, sir.
1 minute.
Yeah. Mani sir, my name is M.G. Pant. I have a small question, sir. This is regarding the promotion of the Vande Bharat trains. Is there any problem with the promotion? Is it creating any economic disparity? Why stone pelting on the trains?
Promotion.
Promotion is with comparison to flights. So most of the Vande Bharat trains are compared with the flight journey with the facilities and amenities. And in some rural areas, some stone pelting incidents are happening. So people are feeling any economic disparity or comparison with these trains. How we can keep it away and we can clear their minds.
So stone pelting, I understood. Yeah, what was the question? Otherwise, I didn't get.
Actually, Mr. Pant will take your question later. It's not clear from here. Somebody else.
We can. At least stone pelting, I can.
Oh, is stone pelting? He can't answer. Yeah, that's a political question.
No, first thing I did not fully understand, but you said something about promotion of the train. I mean, it is getting promoted much more than it deserves. If every train is launched by the Prime Minister himself, what more promotion do you need for a train? It's just a train after all. And even future trains are going to be launched, I believe, by the Prime Minister. So I think that's a wonderful promotion, Modi ji going himself and launching the train. Much more than we would have ever expected. So much value attached to the train. As for stone pelting, it's a socio-economic issue. You see, we have disparities in the country. You can't you can't put it under carpet. There are people in the same resurgent and aspirational India who see these as symbol of a detached, richer India, and that's their reaction. I believe this will change as our economy becomes more and more inclusive, and if we do grow at 6, 7, 8%, and if in 2040 or so, if we do become a developed economy at the end of the Amrit Kal, I believe all of us, all Indians would have enough money in their pocket not to indulge in such acts. And also a message for Indian Railways where everyone would be carried irrespective of the way he pays. If he doesn't pay today, that doesn't mean you carry him like sardines in a train. I believe we will see a day where Indian Railways will see to it that every Indian, poor or rich, travels with dignity. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Thank you. Next question, please. And please ask a very brief, pointed question. Mr. Nagahari, yeah, please.
While this train is designed for 180. In the public domain, it is told as 160. Whereas the tracks are designed only for 130, making it the average speed coming down to only 85 to 90 in actual use. So when the tracks will come up, or the operational side, when the signaling will come up to meet the design speed.
Yeah. So as I understood your question is whether the train is fine, but if the track is not there to support it, it is not being used to its capacity. Very true. We built the train to make it ready for 160-kilometer operation, test it at 180, 5 years back. There was an expectation that matching track, at least Mumbai, Delhi, Howrah, and later Adal quadrilateral would be upgraded to 160 kilometers per hour. It has not happened. Track upgradation takes more money, more effort than just building a train. So I'll not, while my selfish emotion would say that, well, we build the train and track is not there, what can we do? No. It requires more effort. Government is working on it, but I, like you, do wish that more effort is made towards the track than the train. The problem is the train gives more visibility, upgradation of track doesn't. So I hope things improve.
Thank you. Next person, please. Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Or we can close the session. Somebody else?
Thank you, sir. Is it administrative success? Is a technological success? Because I see there is a trains, for example, Intercity Express in Germany.
I got the first line good enough.
Thank you.
So I'm not a good engineer, but I am an engineer, and that's why I'm very poor at appreciating the finer things of life, which is like having been taught 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. In life, 2 plus 2 is either 3 or 5 or sometimes 4. So I inculcated an interest to, contrived to generate interest in art and literature. So I'm neither here nor there, so I was never a great engineer. But art and literature did teach me how to tackle people to some extent. So if to answer your question, I would like to think that it was more of an administrative success. The technological prowess resided in those people who built the train. I did nothing about that. I just used it. Thank you.
मणि साहब ने माली का काम किया है कि उसी खेत से फूल उगा दिया. Okay. Somebody else? Yeah, Lathia ji.
Sanjeev Lathia from Lathia Rubbers here, sir. You said you had a budget of 200 crores for 2 trains. Did you come in under budget or over budget?
Did it come?
Under budget or over budget?
Did you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So we built the train for 97.8 or something, about 98 crores. To that extent, it was done lower than the budgeted value. There's one caveat. The money spent on consultations, around 12 crores or so, was not charged to the project. But then, nobody would give you 2 trains. You know, you understand, you are from the industry, you know what economies of scale are. If you went and asked somebody to build you 2 trains, he will tell you to get off. Nothing less than 15 or 20 trains. So to that extent, we had that leverage not to charge the consultants' payment to the project. So truly speaking, the train was built for about 98 crores.
Great. Anybody else would like to ask any question, or we move forward?
So this is Ankur Gupta from Banknote Paper Mill. Actually, through your presentation, I have gone through that you have gone so many positive attitudes for every situations. So may I know what was the source of the motivation for your?
What was the source of motivation for building the train, or?
No, for building the attitude.
It's there in everyone, sir. I was to some extent lucky. even the most corrupt person, does he teach or does she teach his or her child to be corrupt? No. Everyone has motivation. Everyone wants to do something which is meaningful to him. It's all a question of luck. So when you say what was the motivation, it's there in everyone. It's just a matter of how strongly you can channelize it. And as I said, what you're hearing is only a success. There have been so many failures which I have not talked to you about. You try some, you win some. So that's all. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to speak about the Train 18 Vande Bharat project. I retired as General Manager of Integral Coach Factory of Indian Railways, ICF, Chennai, in December 2018, and I now work as an independent consultant, inter alia, other activities. Cannot be funnier than I already am. I'm not nervous, I'm not going to lie, and I'm absolutely sure that I'll be able to speak what I'm here to speak about. I will begin with these wonderful words of the people's president, APJ Abdul Kalam, when he said, "Then dream is not the thing you see in sleep, but is that thing that doesn't let you sleep." If you've read The Merchant of Venice, Portia says, if to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches and poor man's cottages, princesses' palaces. In the same vein, if to do were as easy as to speak and lecture about it, so I will only speak about things that I, along with my team, was able to do. What I call proof of the pudding. A million deja vu for me, but nevertheless, I'm very thankful to Mr. Goel, who contacted me and invited me for this talk today. Earlier in February, I was also at an event of BMPA, talking to people from printing industry. So it's some kind of a natural progression that I'm here speaking to people of paper and pulp. And hopefully, I'll be speaking to some people from the publishing industry soon, because they are the people I have not been able to tackle so far in spite of having written 7 books. Love it or hate it, in our context, Indian Railways is not an organization you can easily ignore. I'm not a great speaker, and therefore I borrow a lot from wisdom down the ages. People I call my poet uncles. My 600 years old uncle called Kabir. I have an English uncle, more than 400 years old, called Shakespeare. And I have a young uncle, 200 years plus old, from Delhi, called Ghalib. There is a liberal time regime afforded by Mr. Goel, but I know that I'll keep you from lunch. So I will not go long and winding. And in any case, remember, I am a railway man for life. I have an inherent right to be derailed, so any attempt to derail me is not going to work. It's no use teaching an old dog new tricks, so I'll begin what I call my quasi-sarkari talk. It's the same terroir, same body, same tannin, but perhaps I've been able to put together a rosé for you. I'll begin with what you're familiar with. It's called Atmanirbhar Bharat. It all started in 2014 with Make in India. The purpose was to make India a factory of the world. A partial success, I would say, came the COVID, and it was rejigged into Atmanirbhar Bharat. The expectation was that these lions of Make in India would roar into self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. We have heard some roars, but mostly purrs. There are many things which you from the industry would know much more than me, like physical stimuli, demand in the market,